recording. Okay, here we go. Hello, André. Hello, Leonardo. Leonardo, well, this special video class is dedicated to Leonardo and to André, but especially to you, okay, Leonardo? Why? Because this exercise that I have right here in front of me is one that I had a chance to go over with André in class, and I explained to him. So I think he's gonna feel more, perhaps a little bit more comfortable using this. Practicing with present perfect simple versus present perfect continuous because of the discussions that we had. But in Leonardo's class, we talked about prepositions, and we didn't have time to talk about the perfect tenses. Okay, so that's why I'm going to spend more time on this video on the explanations for present perfect simple versus present perfect continuous, because present perfect tenses, right? The use of present perfect tenses, of course, it's a little bit more complex than prepositions. But then, André, I don't want you to feel left out, because at the end of this video, I'm going to do a tour of the mind map that I created with Leonardo when we discussed prepositions. Okay, so without any further ado, let's go and take a look at this. Okay, so Leonardo, André, for you this is a review, but for you, Leonardo, pay close attention, and I want you to feel free to text me later, okay? I know that I'm posting this video kind of late. Your exam is tomorrow, but if I post before 7, let's say 7 p.m., you guys still have some time before 10 o'clock, 10 p.m. to practice a little bit for the test, okay? So let's have a look at this. Okay, so here we go. Look, so at last I, blah, blah, blah. The verb is to find a solution to this conflict. Okay, so what I want you to understand is this. The tip here is that the word at last means finally. So if it means finally, it means that the action that I'm talking about is probably over. That's why the present perfect simple is more appropriate. Okay, good. For the next one, look. So the action is to read anything interesting lately. Okay, so the tip here is very simple. Every time you see the adverb lately, this is a strong indicator that you need present perfect continuous, okay? Another thing that I added here is that, for example, suppose you go with something like, have you read, okay? Well, then I'm going to repeat this tip to you, that lately is an indicator that you should use the present perfect continuous, have plus been plus ing. Okay, so at this point, you probably know that the right answer now is what have you been reading? Have you been reading anything interesting? Okay, so the other two examples are here because these are common mistakes. Sometimes people mix, like the present perfect simple with continuous, and they forget to add the verb to be in its past participle form here in the middle, because the right answer is have you been reading, okay? Have you been reading anything interesting lately? And the same thing goes for this mistake here. If you choose this one, it means that you made a mistake, your sentence is incomplete, and you forgot to add the main verb in the ing form, okay? So, once again, this is the right answer. Have you been reading anything interesting lately? So in other words, I'm interested in knowing what is it that you're reading these days? What are you reading these days? Okay, right. So having said that, let me just take a quick look here and make sure that I'm recording everything the way I want. Okay, actually, it's going well. Okay, so especially you, okay, Leonardo, because lots of these discussions I had in class with André. Make sure that if you make a mistake, you read all the tips, all the little notes that I add in the exercise, because they will help to elucidate any doubt you may have. Okay? Right. Okay, how about this one? Look, the action is to buy a new smartphone. Okay? And so imagine this: I bought a new smartphone, and this smartphone is really fast. Okay, so what is the tip here? Well, the tip is that if I use the verb to buy to describe this action, it means that the action to buy is over. I have the phone now and I'm really enjoying it. So it's the action to buy, right, is not an action that, for example, the act of buying something is not something that you start and continue for some time. Okay, so that's why the right answer is I have bought. Okay, right. So what about that one? Look, the question is about the verb to smoke, and then we have this sentence here: you smell a cigarette. Now this example here is very important because I want you to pay attention to this. Okay, let me turn on the camera here. So Leonardo, pay attention to this. Whenever you're reading a sentence, okay, and if you analyze the context, and there is evidence in the context, right, of that sentence that the action in question, in this case, the action to smoke, was in progress in the recent past, in that case, you have to use present perfect continuous. Okay? So that's why the answer for this one is this question: have you been smoking? Okay. Let me go over this one more time. So suppose you have a friend. Your friend is not supposed to smoke because his parents are against this, and he hides this from everybody. But one day you come to meet your friend, and you come close to him, and you go, you smell a cigarette. So notice that he's not puffing a cigarette. He's not holding a cigarette at that very moment. There's no smoke in the air. There is. He's not holding a cigarette, but the smell is impregnated in him. So because of that, you would say, have you been smoking? Okay, so that's the use of present perfect continuous associated with a present evidence that suggests that an action was in progress in the recent past. Okay, and that's the answer that we're going to go with in this one here. So here we go. So have you been smoking? Right. You look tired. Okay, once again, what is that? You look tired. So what is this? Okay, you look tired, right? Suggests that the action to work was an action that was in progress in the recent past, right? So here we have a combination of two things. We have a combination of the fact that lately suggests present perfect continuous, but also that the action to work hard was in progress in the recent past. Okay, so if you were to choose, for example, have you worked, that's what the tip here would say. There is evidence that you were working hard in the recent past because you look tired. Okay, so that's why this is wrong, and we should go with this one here. Okay, moving on. Where were you? The verb is to look for you everywhere. So here there is evidence that in the recent past I looked for you in many different places. Okay, so I was looking for you. So there is evidence that this action was in progress until recently. Because of that, we're gonna go with have you been. Okay, so I have been looking for you everywhere. Okay, what about the next one? You're late. Okay, now you're late. So you're late suggests that the action of waiting for you started in the past and it goes all the way to the present moment. Okay, so we've been doing this action for a long time. So because of that, the right answer is we have been waiting for you for a long time. Been waiting for a long time. Okay, now what about this? Here we have a situation like this. My parents, they know each other. And this is a fact that is true since they were kids. Okay, so the tip here is very simple. Okay, there are verbs such as the verb to know that are not used in the continuous form. We call them non-continuous verbs. Okay, so what that means is that you either know somebody or you don't know them. But you can't say in English, I am knowing a certain person. Okay, I know that may cause a little bit of confusion because we say this in Portuguese, but in English, the verb to know is a non-continuous verb, and you cannot use it that way. Well, knowing that, you have to go with the present perfect simple. Okay, right. And then we get to this one here. Look, Is it very far? We, blah, 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 drive for 2 hours already. Okay, so you see, here we have the word already, and we have this question, is it very far? Which suggests that the action to drive is still in progress. The person is still driving. Okay, we're still driving. So therefore, we should go with, we have been driving for 2 hours already. Okay, now, what about this? I have never understood, or I've never been understanding. Well, the tip here is quite simple. Look, never suggests, there are some adverbs like there are adverbs like never and yet that are most commonly used with present perfect simple. Okay, so the adverb itself is already a clue to you that you should use present perfect simple. But if that is not enough, you should also remember that understand belongs to that group of verbs that are not used in the continuous form. So again, either you understand something or you don't. You don't say I am understanding. Okay? So either you say I understand you or I don't understand you. Well, because of that, you have to say I have never understood politics. Okay? Now, what about this? She's exhausted. Okay? So this first sentence here represents evidence. Remember when I explained earlier quite extensively that whenever there is evidence of an action in progress in the recent past, we use present perfect continuous. So that's what we have to choose here. Okay, so she has been working all day. Now, he's an atheist and never believe in God. Okay, so if he's an atheist, right, it means that he doesn't believe in God. But we are going to say that, right, using the adverb never. So remember, never is a strong indicator that we need present perfect simple. But also you have to remember that the verb to believe is a non-continuous verb. So again, either you believe in something or you don't believe. Okay, so this is the answer here. Okay, so John, for example, is an atheist. He has never believed in God. Okay, now look at this. You're covered in paint. Now, this is evidence that the action to paint was in progress in the recent past. So therefore, the answer should be, what have you been painting? Okay, now, this in the same way that you use the adverbs like never and yet with the word ever, with the adverb ever, the rule, the logic is the same. We use ever with present perfect simple. So because of that, the question here should be, have you ever seen the Taj Mahal? Is one of the 7 wonders in the world. Okay, once again, the adverb just here suggests that you should use present perfect. So because of that, because of the adverb just, we use present perfect simple. I have just spoken with my parents. They don't think I should come to your party. Okay, I'm sorry, the manager is not here. So the fact that he's not here, right? And the fact that there is this information that his destination is home, we are inclined to believe that he is at home now. So the action to go home is over. In other words, the action to leave the office, to go home, is finished. So the manager is not here. He has gone home, right? Not he has been going home. He has gone home. In other words, he has left the office. He's not leaving the office. So the action to go is finished. Okay? That's what you have to consider. That the action to go, to leave the office is over. It's finished. That's why we use present perfect simple. And once again, because of the adverb, in this case, the adverb yet, we are going to go with present perfect simple. Have you finished the task yet? We don't use adverbs like that with present perfect continuous. Okay? And the last one, how many cups of coffee have you had or have you been having? So in this example here, I want you to think about that. Look, suppose that the number of cups of coffee that you had in the morning were like 4. So imagine there are 4 empty cups there. So you finished, you had them. You're not drinking the 4 cups of coffee. So when you have a number like that, 4, I had 4 cups of coffee, it suggests that you should use present perfect simple. Okay, so present perfect continuous doesn't make sense in this case. Okay, right. So I hope, especially to you Leonardo, I know I'm speaking a little bit fast because I want to finish this in time so that I can post. So I hope that with these examples, with the explanations that I provided here, that this is going to elucidate the topic for you. Okay? Right. Okay. So now, having said that, my suggestion to you, Leonardo and André, okay? After watching this video, reload the page, okay? And have another go at the exercises, allow yourself to make mistakes, because then you can read all the little tips that I added, and ask yourself, test your knowledge. Ask yourself if the logic that I try to explain to you here, if that is clear. Okay, good. Now moving on. My objective was to add to this list here also. My objective was to add the preposition section so that you could interact with it. But unfortunately, I ran out of time, and I'm not going to be able to post them in time for you to practice with them. So what I decided to do instead was this. I decided to go over the map with you. Okay, so right now I'm sharing the map, okay, with you guys. Oh, here's the map, okay? And I'm going to go over the map with you bit by bit. Okay, so here we go. Oh, look. So I created this preposition map, and I organized it in groups like at, in, and on, okay? And I added some exceptions here. Actually, there's one exception. Okay. So the first thing you have to understand, you have to remember, okay? And it's about the preposition at. Okay, so we use at when we are referring to time on the clock. Imagine a clock, and you're referring to the specific information there on the clock. So what time is the meeting? So the meeting is at 9 o'clock, okay? So if you ever have that reference, the clock time, then you use at, okay? So examples of that would also be with expressions like at lunchtime, at midtime, at midnight. Okay, lunchtime is usually 12 o'clock, right? Midnight is 12 o'clock, but at night, okay? So they can also be understood as clock time as well, right? Okay, we also use the preposition time, the preposition at, when we use something as a point of reference. For example, at the bus stop, okay? Where is Alfredo? Oh, Alfredo is at the bus stop, which means that the bus stop is a reference, and I'm very close. I'm near the bus stop. I'm near the bus stop. The same thing we can do for the word corner. Where is Alfredo? Where's my teacher? Oh, he's at the corner. So imagine the corner between two different streets, and Alfredo is there. So the corner is just a reference point, okay? Another way to use the preposition at with a reference point would be with something like at the end of the road, okay? So imagine a road, and then at the end of the road, you find something, okay? So this is with the preposition at, okay? Then with the preposition in, I think that in a certain way the preposition in is easier, because I think that wait a minute. Yeah, I'm sorry. Okay. Yeah, because look, with the preposition in, the rules are, I think they're very solid. For example, whenever you refer to months, okay, so the preposition is in. Look, in January, in April, in March, and so on. Also, when you refer to periods of time, like in the afternoon, in the morning, or in the evening. But be careful with this, because there is an exception, right? And the exception is with the preposition at, okay? Because the preposition at, when you refer to a period of the day, the night period is the only one that if you refer to that period, you use the preposition at. Okay, right? Okay, so we talked about periods of the day, with the exception of night, for which we use the preposition at. Okay, then like this, if we're talking about periods of time, think about this: in the future, in the next century, in the past. Now, all of them, they refer to periods of time. Because of that, we use the preposition in. Also, when we refer to places, like before countries or cities, we use the preposition in. In Brazil, in the United States, in New York, in Paris, in France, and so on. Okay? And also, when we want to communicate with the preposition in, the fact that you were referring to the inside part of something. So, for example, in the office building, in the list of exercises that you received, we have an example like that. Okay, right. And following that, we have this, okay, with the preposition on. Okay, we use on in reference to a street name, for example, on Fifth Avenue in New York. Okay, so we use the preposition on. Also for days of the week, okay, like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Saturday, Friday, Sunday, okay, we use the preposition on, okay, on Mondays, for example. Okay, also, if you're referring to a specific day, for example, look, see, on January the 1st, or on my birthday, or on my parents' anniversary, on Christmas Day. So you're referring to one specific day. Whenever you do that, the preposition that you use is the preposition on. Okay, another use for the preposition on is for situations in which you were describing where something is located, and in that case, if the person is on the surface. Okay, so for example, the book is on the table, or a picture on the wall, or for example, my apartment is on the 10th floor. So the idea is that these things are in contact with the surface. Because of that, we use the preposition on. Okay, and then we have the preposition at here with the exceptions, and basically that's it. Okay, right, guys, so let me see, at this point I've recorded 22 minutes. I think it's quite a lot, but I think it's a quick but a very direct review exercise for you. Okay, so as I said, this video is here. I mean, if you're watching this, it's because you've received the link. So the video is here, and right below me you're going to find the exercises. Okay, suggestion, like I said, the exercise has got all the answers, so feel free to reload the page and do the exercise as many times as you can to really practice with this. Okay, I hope you do well in your test tomorrow, and I'll see you in our next class. Okay, bye bye for now. Have a good exam tomorrow.